Hey guys, today is Sunday, October 1st. Wow, it's really a beautiful day here in New Jersey after almost a week of heavy rain. We are finally venturing out here to focus on planting our spring bulbs for the year. And I've been wishing my life away basically since I purchased these at Costco a few weeks ago. And I could have bought so many more. But I had to control myself this year because the construction in our yard still isn't done. Now I'm going to go ahead and attach two videos for you from last year in case you're new here and you haven't seen them yet. The first video is from about 1 year ago when we were planting last year's bulb collection. And I was so excited for the alliums and the tulips. And we didn't know what to expect or how well these purchases would do from Longfield Gardens that provides the bulbs of daffodils, hyacinths, and tulips, and alliums, many things that you'll see from this supplier at Costco. So we waited with anticipation, and then in the springtime, they all came to life, and we made another video which we will also attach for you. So you'll be able to see what it is that we did last year, what we planted, how it actually came up in the spring. And so, you know, again, you'll know what to expect because these plants are all still available at Costco. And of course, your varieties will depend on what location that you're in, but they did really well. Now, will they come up for a second year as far as the ones we planted last year? Of course, we don't know yet. This was our first year with them. But we were confident enough that we went ahead and we did another big mass purchase of them, and today we're planning on planting them again. So this is a new variety this year, Purple Doll and Orange Marmalade. And what I really love about this variety, it totally caught my eye, was this one in particular with its beautiful green stripes on it. There were so many tulips last year that came up that had different striations of color, of green and pink and yellow. It was so beautiful. I hope you'll go back and watch last year's videos because these really were a delight. Especially after winter, when you come out and you realize, okay, the sun angle is changing and the flowers are starting to pop up, and these are the first flowers of the year, and it's so satisfying. Every day it gave me something to look forward to come out and see the tulips. So this is the first one that we will be planting today. And then of course, I'm not planting them in the greenhouse. I'm just trying to get the best light for you guys. This is a new variety as well called Blazing Flames Mix and Melange. What I liked about this was the beautiful rich saturation of color and the ruffly texture. Something I've noticed with the different tulips, we have not planted tulips in the past because we have a problem here with rabbits and deer. So, but since the last few years we've been able to totally enclose our backyard with a stockade fence, we have personally had the opportunity to plant tulips and nothing is coming in to eat them. So this variety here I thought was just as beautiful. So we're getting to experience the different shapes that the bloom comes out. Some are pointy, some are round, some have ruffles, but in the middle of the day they all open really, really wide and they expose a beautiful stamen inside. And the throats of the tulips are always different colors. So there's an extra surprise in planting tulips. And I thought, wow, this also has some of the green striation. I don't know if you can see from this variety, but some of the petals have some green on there. So that is this color here. Now, this sunset mix, this is what you will see in the video that I'll attach of springtime for you where our Costco bulbs bloomed. And this was so, so beautiful, this variety here. I had to buy another bag just in case they don't come up and make sure I see this again in the springtime because the yellows and the purples were so incredibly bright and vibrant. I could see them from my kitchen window, and it was just, again, so satisfying to see when they fully open in the middle of the day what the inside of it has to offer. Now, if you haven't planted tulips before, something that you want to consider before you do a big planting like this is that not only do you have to be concerned with what wildlife might be eating your bulbs. Squirrels are notorious for ripping up tulip bulbs. The rabbits like to eat them after they bloomed, and the deer like to nibble on them as well. Something that can happen while you're planting these is they can get rot if they're in too much of a clay soil. So you want to make sure your soil has good drainage, and that's something we're working on improving today. So just in case last year's don't rebloom because maybe they have had some rot, or you just never really know, I wanted to make sure that I had this variety available again because it was just so beautiful and satisfying. Now this is another new one, which is very, very similar to the other guy I showed you in color. So we have this one, which again is the Blazing Flames. And now look how nicely these are going to complement each other. So we have brilliant mix with the melange. Now there's melange in this bag as well. So for some people, they only like to plant things that totally match, or some people have beautiful gardens that are separated by solid colors. And I'm realizing more and more people don't really appreciate some of the oranges and the yellows that these varieties offer. I personally think that they're brilliant in the garden, and I can't wait. So knowing that this is called Brilliant, I had to have it. So I thought these two will be going in together, and I thought they would look really, really beautiful clumped in. Now something that we're doing different this year is we're going to be planting them in mass. Last year, our walkway was under construction, but we wanted to have the tulips. So Farmer John went ahead and did a staggered row all the way down the length of the walkway, which you'll see in last year's video where we were planting them. And then in the video where they bloomed, you'll see how they all came up a little bit staggered, but it was just a one long row. So now we did, I'll show you in another video, this walkway that, it still continues to grow and progress as we change and add things. We just split almost 100 daylily clumps and divided them into a section of the walkway. So while the daylilies are still dormant, all of the tulips will be coming up around them. So I think it's going to be interesting. And this year's batch, we're going to be planting in between all of the daylily clumps, and we're going to be planting them in masses of at least 7. So it is said that these types of things, garden plantings, should always be in odd numbers because nature doesn't do things even. So here's the last tulip variety that we'll be planting today, which is called Bright Mix and Melange. So I guess I bought a lot of melange this year, but I just love the colors in this. And anything that is yellow for me with the tulips, you'll see, if you see this variety in your Costco and you're trying to select one, this is going to be very, very pretty. These purples, we have a few purples from the Sunset Mix from last year that were also really very satisfying. So I chose these based on them being slightly different, but yet kind of still the same as what I know to be good selections from last year. So trying to slightly mix it up but still keep it the same, trying to get the best of both worlds and have everything I want. So now I'm going to show you some of the other bulb varieties that we purchased that will be all new for us this year, and I'm really excited to get them in the ground today. So next we're going to talk about alliums. This allium, the Gladiator allium, now you'll see you only get 9 bulbs in this bag, whereas with the tulips you're getting at least 50. And I think with some of the daffodils that you can buy, you may get even more. And I'll show you a few other varieties of things we'll be planting today that offers more bulbs or corms. But this Gladiator only gets 9 because it is a large flower when it comes up. It's so Seussish. Like I was saying that in the video from last year, that they remind me of Dr. Seuss. Every single one that I planted last year did pop up. They don't last for a very long time, but they do show you on the back things that you can plant with them so that you have continued color and satisfaction in the springtime. And it will also tell you on the top of the bag at what time of the season it blooms. So since the tulips are a mix of mid-spring and late spring, we wanted to make sure that we have multiple things coming up at multiple times so that you have just a constant supply of color in your spring garden. Now, this variety of allium, which is also deer resistant, it shows you, is late season. So Purple Sensation and Mount Everest will be new for us. This is a smaller flower of a pom-pom than the Gladiator. But I like its pinkish purple shades and its little white, I thought would be nice and bright against, you know, there's a lot of mulch exposed and soil exposed in the springtime when everything is just starting to change. So I think the white will brighten things up. So I went ahead and got that one. And then the next only gets 4. But look at the size of this flower compared to this child's face. They're huge pom-pom flowers. So, and you can see on the back what they show you. The thing about buying Longfield Gardens is that, you know, there's a lot of information all around the bag, and it will tell you when you should plant it and the best time to plant it, how deep, how far apart the bulbs should go, you know, various companion plants in case it's your first time growing something like this. So you'll, you know, have some idea of what's going to be most satisfying, because it's important when you plant these things that you know what to expect, so your level of satisfaction is there. It's just really important. So the last thing you want to do is, I am guilty of this, I squirrel things away. I forget where I planted it, and then I don't want to dig anything up because I think there might have been some tulips in there. So now we're getting better this year at marking where we put things and knowing what they are. So as I go ahead planting things in the spring, I'll know that I'm not disrupting any of these bulbs. So that's something to consider. And if you're planting all of these other companion plants with them, you're going to want to have a good layout for your beds. The next thing that we'll be planting will be some basic crocus. I'm sure you've all seen them. Some people have them, some don't. We've noticed that the rabbits don't really mess with these guys. So I might plant some of these up front as well. I mean, we can't avoid the rabbits in the front of our house or the deer, so we try to be mindful about investing in the perennial garden and what's going to happen when you plant these things. So in our last property, we had a ton of crocuses and nothing ate them. So Farmer John specifically asked for crocus this year. So in these 64 crocuses, you can see they are a shorter plant. So as they go into the soil, they will be planted in clusters and rows of clusters that will go in front of the tulips, which will range from anywhere from, I think, 1 foot to 24 inches. So that's another thing you're going to consider with your perennial bulbs that you're planting, is the height that your final flower will be. So you know when you're planting your companions with them, how you should place things. So these will go in the front, and these are an early spring variety of crocus that we'll see these first, and these will actually start popping up very, very early in the season. So you start to see little straps coming up in winter, and it's like spring's almost here. Here comes the crocus. Very exciting. So also on the property here that we inherited when we bought the place was, I guess maybe the homeowner was getting hyacinths and muscari and things like that as maybe Mother's Day or Easter presents, and she would go around and plant them. At one point she did plant a ton of tulips, but literally my neighbor would send me a message and say, Leigh, I was walking the dogs past your house this morning and the rabbits were really enjoying your tulips. So I thought, all right, I'm never planting tulips out front again, but I know that I can plant some hyacinth, which already exist out there in some beautiful shades of pink. So there were at least 4 different types that they had at Costco that I wanted to grab. One claimed to be blue, but you never know when you buy something that says it's blue. It's most likely going to be purple. So I wanted to get something that I thought would have a mix in here. So we have Blue Star, Pink Pearl, and Alos. I don't know how you really say that, but it's basically white, pink, purple, and hopefully blue. I thought this was really, really pretty. And these different varieties are mid-spring, deer resistant. I know that they're rabbit resistant. They have an incredible fragrance, and that was something that I love about the hyacinth, is the fragrance. But all of these are mid-spring, and they grow about 10 inches high, and they should be planted, their bulbs should be planted about 6 inches apart, because you want to remember that they have straps that come up with them. And then I went back, so there's 20 bulbs in this bag, and this bag here also has 20 bulbs, But look at the color. I thought that the saturation of these fuchsias in the Fierce Mix and Melange are just absolutely gorgeous. So they'll be really beautiful, and you can clip these and bring them in the house and create beds. I'm sorry, I'm so distracted. Behind you there are all sorts of butterflies, and I think that I'm seeing a hummingbird still. So they haven't left us here. Even though it's October, we're in the migration path, and we have a lot of flowers that are still out here from the summer. So there's still a lot of things tooting around. So anyway, back to this. So yeah, so this Fierce Mix I thought was really, really gorgeous. So I only selected 2 bags of hyacinths for this year, but something tells me that this time next year I'll be buying more varieties, and at that point our yard will be more developed, so I'll know what spaces will be open for more things like this. So these are going to get mixed in possibly with the tulip bed and the daylilies, but we're also going to mix some of these in to the beds where I have all of our beautiful zinnias and snapdragons right now. So that's going to be something else to look forward to. So those beds won't be empty in the spring. Right now they were new beds. They're full of annuals. So, you know, Farmer John pointed out, you know, these beds are going to be empty in the spring. Do you want to plant some of these things in here? And I said, I definitely do. But I have a few more things that I'll be adding, and I'm going to make space in those beds for what I'm about to show you next. Now these things are a new selection here, but I have to tell you, when I go to Costco and I see these bags of bulbs come out in the spring and in the fall, I get so excited. I literally want to buy everything. But I am in love with anemone. Now, last year I bought bulbs that came in the springtime for the summer blooms, and the anemone are these little tiny corums. Seeing this beautiful butterfly, are these tiny little corums that you have to soak, and the flowers came up so beautifully. I'll have to see if there's a video with them that I can insert the link for you. But this is 80 anemone and Shanadoza, maybe is how you say that. I don't know. Somebody, I wish I could hear you pronounce it. I'll have to look it up. But you get 40 of each, and these are going to get mixed in to another flower bed. So anemone are so beautiful and satisfying. I thought this was interesting. And again, it's new, so I don't have a report for you on how these will do as far as a fall planted bulb, but the other anemones from Longfield Gardens did extraordinarily well, and they were very satisfying. Now the next one is called Scylla, and there's 70 bulbs in here, and it's a campanulata. Campanulata. I am tripping over my tongue with some of these things very often, but look at these beautiful muted vintagey colors of pale pinks and purples and blues, and oh, I think they are so gorgeous. So you know, this also tells you if it likes sun or shade or a sunshade mix. Again, it's telling you if it's deer resistant, and it will tell you what companion flowers it goes best with. And you can see in this picture how this grows in masses eventually. So I'm very excited to try out this new variety here of flower. So if you go ahead and invest in these bulbs, you know, you're going to want to make sure you know where you're going to plant them, and again, how your area is going to do as far as drainage and sun exposure and things like that. So if you buy a bulb that likes the sun, but your backyard only has shade, it may not work out for you. So when you're going to look at these and you see them, and of course, you know, it's also enticing. Make sure you know where you're planting them so you don't waste money in your investment. So I'm going to show you now where we're going to plant ours. This is the area here that's still under construction, but you can see that Farmer John created this beautiful little walkway for us that's not meant to be perfect. It's not meant to be your typical suburban paver pathway. We like everything really rustic, and most of these materials are repurposed. They were salvaged. We actually salvaged them. But all of these daylilies that were split came from our daylily garden. If you've been watching our videos, we featured our variety of flowers all through the year. So now we have over 100 feet that will be a daylily bed. And you can see we had big sunflowers here, and we have the butterfly bushes, which the butterflies absolutely love. Come spring, we will be planting all sunflowers here. I have a few other things that I'll be adding for tall interest, and then the tulips will come up in this area, and then the daylilies will bloom after that. And come spring, I will be planting annual flowers here as well. So this whole entire walkway will be continued interest. So we've been working on this for a year. It's been kind of painful to see it in a constant state of disruption, but it's all coming together now, and in its, you know, in its rustic nature, it's going to be really beautiful. So this has been a lot of labor for us. We're trying to cut back on the grass. So now this area is just wide enough for 3 passes on the 33-inch deck lawnmower. So it's going to make things easier for us, and it's going to be prettier. It's so sad to see the summer garden dying back, but I have to mention real quickly, these snapdragons, once you plant snapdragons, it's like you're always going to have snapdragons. This is where, quickly I'll tell you, they just reseed from these seed pods. So this is a spring bulb video, but I just wanted to point this out to you. This is the area where we'll be ripping out some of these zinnias so we can put in some of those, probably anemone and campanulata and things like that. So that's where that's going to go. So anyway, you guys, be sure to go back and watch the video links that we're going to attach for you so you can see how we planted the other tulips that we invested in last year, what they looked like when they finally came up, and then you can look forward to next spring with us. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you never miss a new video, and we'll be gardening through most of the year here. So anyway, stay tuned, and we hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye!